welcome, welcome to 6 Minutes. I'm Jason Fulmore, back with Travis Jarrard. Hey, Travis, how are you?
I'm doing good. Just got in from a long day on the soccer field. So
Nice. And is that how you got your black eye?
no, that was a softball practice last Friday night. Yeah, last Saturday, a week ago today, it was pretty bad. It was pretty black. So, but it is what it is. I got hit by a ball being thrown in from the outfield. So,
Head on a swivel, right?
Yeah, I could hear my dad saying, "Catch the ball, Travis. Catch the ball." So
there you go. Well, we are chatting today, and today is the beginning of the week for the Super 32 early entry tournament, qualifier, whatever you want to kind of term it as. I know they don't like the term qualifier. That's happening in Georgia on Saturday. And you are one of the people with Fretwell and LA and others that are kind of coordinating everything and running everything. So I thought we'd get together and talk a little bit about the Super 32 qualifier. So a couple things that stood out to me that I thought were pretty interesting was number one, let's see, there are 16 states according to the registration that are registered.
Yeah.
Which is pretty typical for you guys, right?
I don't know if we've ever had 16. We're usually around 9, 10, 11. 16 is pretty high. And here the last couple of years, we've started getting a couple of kids from out west. This year, definitely a few more with Nevada, I think, Colorado and California all being represented. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's great. A few kids coming in from out of town. I think that they're really looking to try to get some matches in, where they're able. So that I think it's awesome that you have 16 states represented. And then we have, and I know this is in flux because there are kids who are adding a little bit maybe, or dropping. We just lost Caden McCrary from Woodland. He's not competing this weekend. But other than that, we have some fairly large brackets, and I think they'll stay pretty close to that. I think we have 54 at 132 plus 3, and 52 and 50 right around the 130, 126, 120 pound weight classes.
Yeah, we usually have a couple right there between 20 and 38. We'll have a couple of brackets right around 50, a little under, a little over. Then 106, 13, and 20 are usually, over 32, maybe not quite up to 50, but they're usually around the 40 range. And then 45 and 52 are pretty close to the 32 range. And then, when you get up to 60, 70, 82, 95, those are right around 16. And then 220 heavyweight, we're hoping to usually get around 8 there. But the numbers are good. If we wouldn't have had to put a cap on it, I think this would have, we could have pushed 650 kids this year. It filled up really fast, and I've been doing this with Fretwell for quite a while. He's great to work with. And this early entry tournament is, as like you said, the Super 32 likes it to be called. And we filled it up really fast this year, and had tons of people emailing, can I get in? And we just couldn't do it. So we're hoping that because of this interest, we're hoping that kind of carries forward, and we might try to do something a little different next year, maybe.
All right.
But to accommodate everybody.
You want to tell me what you're going to do, or we're just going to, we'll put that on hold until as we get closer.
Yeah, we just got to iron out a couple of details, but
all right.
We want to make it, we don't want to close anybody out. We want to make it big, but for those that were there last year at South Forsyth High School, they did a great job putting it on. A lot of great wrestling, but there's only 6 mats down, and trying to run 450 kids through on 6 mats is hard to do. And it was a long day. We finished up around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It was 12 hours of straight wrestling. We would like to kind of cut that down a little bit as far as, what time we're getting out at the end. But we also want to, we want to make it huge. We want to make it 650, 700, 800 kids if we could.
Yeah.
So
well, and you got the cap right now for this year, but still some fantastic names, some fantastic names, some brackets that are going to look fantastic. So let's jump to some weight classes, and I'm going to go ahead and tell everyone that we're not going to get to every weight class. There's just no way that in the span of time that I try to keep this to, that we just won't be able to, and we won't be able to talk about a bunch of different names. We'll we're going to kind of highlight a few. So why don't you start with a weight class that kind of popped out to you, and then maybe I'll say one.
All right, at the top of the list for me was 160.
Uh-huh.
A lot of big names, a lot of I mean, it's low numbers. The
Mm-hmm.
numbers at 160 aren't that big, but this is where the top end is for me. As far as who's all there, Camden Monroe out
Mm-hmm.
of Richmond Hill, Georgia's a big one. Aaron Sheffield out of Georgia is a state champ, and then we added a pretty big one. And then AJ Dickerson from South Carolina, 2-time champ. And then we added a new one during the week this week. A kid, some of y'all might be familiar with Matthew Singleton. Did that ring a bell? Anyone?
Nice. I
Yeah.
saw his
So,
name pop up, and I was wondering.
yeah, I mean, in what was already a pretty good bracket to me at 160, throwing that one in, you know, you've got a couple of other kids, state runners ups. Trey Morissette from Tennessee's another
Mm-hmm.
top-notch state champ. Ethan Rickert was third in Georgia, 7A. Gunnar Filipowicz was second one year, got sixth this year after
Mm-hmm.
injury, defaulting in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going all of those kids might be in the quarters. I mean, you know, so it's gonna really, the first gonna start flying probably a couple of matches in the round of 16 and the quarters at 160, and that one to me is the one that really jumps out the most. It'll be quite a battle to see who. I mean, obviously Singleton's probably the favorite, but to see who makes it out of the other side to meet up with him is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was looking at the different kids, and some of them have faced one another at the Chaos down with Coach Carr, and
Right.
and I know Dickerson and Rickard kind of split this year, like over the summer, so
Yeah.
they might face each other once again. But yeah, you're right. 160 looks like a fantastic weight class.
Yeah.
So if I'm jumping in, I was looking at 126. So 126. Some of the names that kind of popped out to me in that group were, Ryan Summerlin, who is from Moody High School. He's an Alabama state champ. Hayden Whidden, who was a state runner-up last year, to Kai Owen at 106, up from Lake Gibson, Florida. And then you've got a bunch of Georgia kids in there. So Joey Robinson and Bryce Crescio, CJ Murphy, Nick Cambria, and then a kid that I've watched wrestle a couple times is Jacob Cox from North Carolina. So
Right.
126, again, like 160, in my opinion, looks like it could be a really good weight class there in the quarters, and some really good
Even
matches.
around the 16.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I look at something like 126 and really also 132 and 138, while you may not have that key name, the two Fargo AAs like you've got at 160, the sheer number of top end talent at 26 and 32 is just blows me away. I mean, you're gonna get high level state placers hitting each other before the round of 16, before the round of 16. And you sit there and you look at that, there are over 20 state placers in this bracket. 3 champs at 126. And then, you got a couple of younger guys that are looking to make a name for themselves, that placed a little bit lower. And that's why I like this tournament so much, this early entry tournament, because, you've got these established kids that are state champs and state runners up and 2-time placers, and they're going to hit these 10th graders that finished 5th in a stacked weight class or incoming 9th graders. And that's what I think 106 and 113 are so much fun at this tournament, because you've got these incoming 9th graders that are, 3-time Tulsa placers, and they're hitting up against state champs, and because it's hard to seed those guys, and knocking them off in the quarters and in the round of 16. And that to me is what makes this tournament so much fun. But yeah, at 126, just the sheer number of high level kids, state finalists, state champs, state placers, makes that bracket fun to watch. I'm interested to see CJ Murphy wrestle. Being where I'm at, he's, I don't want to say a local, but I mean, being at Pickens and being so close to where I'm at, and I'm coaching, but I've never seen him wrestle. I've never got to sit down and just watch him wrestle. I've heard about him. I've seen his results. He looks like a kid that's just tough as nails, and he's somebody that I'm looking forward to see against this high level talent, just so I can, kind of see where he's at.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. So, what about 32? Was there anybody that stood out? I mean,
Well,
there's a ton of kids.
yeah, at 32, one thing that's always fun to see at a weight class is when you've got two AAs, the bigger level AAs. We've got a lot of All-Americans around here anymore, but those
Agreed.
established tournaments that have been around forever. But you've got two A's from different places, so I'm interested to see. You got David Pannone, who's phenomenal. Great, very grateful here that Laster has dropped down to 6A this year. And then you got James Joplin from North Carolina, who was NHSCA sophomore All-American. So seeing those two kids in there, and then you add in the rest of them. Xander McWilliams from Alabama, state champ, finished third. Connor Powell from Georgia, he was a state champ.
Mm-hmm.
Whitmire from North Hall is a 3-time placer, 2-time state finalist. And then Andrew Corey from Georgia, 2-time state champ.
Yeah.
2-time state champ. Jacob, is it Deese from Alabama?
Yeah, from Southside Alabama. Yeah, and he didn't wrestle last year because he got hurt.
Right. Yeah. So he got hurt. Xander McWilliams from Alabama. I think I said him.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the sort of stuff that that's going to be another one that's high end. And I'm always looking for seeing those guys that are those 2-time placers, 2-time finalists, 2-time champs, going up against somebody's third, and see how it goes. So
yeah,
that's what stood out to me at 32. 6 state champs, 17 placers, a Fargo All-American, and an NHSCA All-American.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Not bad.
For an early entry tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, really? What's great about it is that these kids, I mean, they've already qualified, quote unquote, for the Super 32. They're out here to get matches.
I want to go back and just go through the numbers from the past, 5 years, and see how many of our qualifiers, those that qualify for early entry, were already qualified. I mean, I bet you if you look at it from 106 up to 160, or even 170, I bet you probably 95% of our kids that finished top 4 were already pre-qualified, but they just come because this tournament's turned into such a big deal. I mean, there's nowhere else to go to get this level of wrestling in outside of the Super 32, at least not in the Southeast. I mean, that's gonna change this year with the Grappler Fall Classic coming to Myrtle Beach here in October. But I mean, this is a showcase for Southeastern talent. It really is.
I agree completely. So as someone who is, and you got to wait for the weigh-ins and those sorts of things, but on paper, what's the weight class that's going to be the most difficult to seed?
It's always 106. It's always 106 and 113 because I can sit here and just looking at 106, I can look at, okay, Aiden Fincher, he's a state champ.
He is.
Okay, that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy. He's pretty good. But then you've got Anthony Knox from New Jersey that was a middle school Super 32 finalist, Tulsa champ. You've got Hunter Taylor, who's going into 9th grade, that was 2nd and 6th in Fargo, 3-time state placer. He's going into 9th grade. You got 8th grader Cooper Hilton from Tennessee, who was Super 32 middle school champ. So when you start blending in these kids that have established, accomplished high school results versus these kids coming in from middle school who are absolute studs, that they just don't have that, that high school placement or whatever. That's always makes it the toughest to seed. Just because you've got to seed it one way, but and 113 is the same way, but you also know that these kids that might not have gotten as high of a seed based on just solely on talent level, they're going to knock some kids off, and so that's what makes those two weight classes so much fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm really interested in some of those freshmen, and down at the lower weights we've got 7th and 8th graders who are going to be competing at 98 and that sort of thing, but it's always fun to watch some of the freshmen. Like Joe Seeley from North Carolina, who's been wrestling everywhere, who'll be a freshman this coming year, but he's up in the weight. I mean, he's up in like 138 or 145. Right. So it'd be really interesting, seeing how well he does against, like a Sam Harris from Ola or some of those individuals. So, it's always fun to kind of see how it all plays out.
you really got it at 120 if any of these kids are these younger guys like a Blue Stifler from South Carolina. You got Corey Land sitting there.
I know.
And so somebody can there's making a name for yourself, and then there's making a statement. And when you got somebody like Corey Land in your bracket, who's Super 32 finalist, and you're young trying to make a name for yourself, there ain't no better way of doing it than that right there.
Yeah, I mean a Greco World Team member. I mean, unbelievable. So no doubt, absolutely. And and I remember watching him last year. Wrestle several different kids. So, and then he injury defaulted out. I think you froze, Travis. Are you there? Uh-oh. You still there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Did you hear what I said?
No, I last thing I said was when I said you got something like Corey, and you said a groan, and then that was it.
Okay. Well, so I just basically was saying, yeah. I mean, he's a Greco World Team member.
Yeah.
And I remember him last year. I mean, he was hammering people, and then he ends up throwing somebody, and he ends up landing on his head and injury defaulting the rest of the tournament out. And he didn't have to be there. He was there to get matches in. So So yeah, very cool. Any others before we wrap this up? Because we're probably
the only other one. I mean, you kind of touched on 38. 38 is going to be pretty good. 45's pretty good. The only other one really is 52. 52 is one of those smaller ones, but it's got 8 state champs and a Fargo All-American. So with Jaden New from Alabama.
Yeah.
But then the state champs, you got one from Florida, one from South Carolina, Jacob Chisholm from Alabama, Jackson Eller from Georgia, Will Haynes from Georgia, 2-timer Will Miller from Alabama, 3-timer Jaden New. So that one, it's got a lot of those champs in there. And then you got a few that are not champs, but we all know that are pretty good. Nick Barton comes to mind. I'm interested to see how he does. So that one's going to be kind of fun to watch. 152.
I agree. I'm glad you brought up 152 because actually I think that with the others, you're right. Maybe the depth and the numbers may not be there, but sure, top end talents. I mean, Jeremy Paradise is sitting there with Jackson Eller. I mean, I just want to see the two of them wrestle. I mean, throwing Brendan Abden. I mean, this is awesome. So, no, it should be some really good weight classes. And this isn't to because we didn't touch on some of the bigger weight classes, but the bigger weight classes too. Just to throw out a few names, right now, and you maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but Pettigrew was listed at 220. Yeah. Heavyweight had a few really good kids who, which we don't always see. So it's really interesting to. I think there will be really good matches at every single weight classes. The finals should be fantastic.
Yeah, the finals usually are phenomenal. But I mean, when you talk about those upper weight guys early in the year, football's going on and it always makes it tough. But when you sit there and you look at 70, 82, and 95, 3 weight classes where you're thinking there's a lot of football players, all 3 of those have at least 2 state champs in it. Yeah. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find that at too many tournaments. And 220's got 3 champs. So, that's just unheard of for the upper weights at this point in time in the season with football going on. So, definitely some big matches there. And yeah, like you said, Noah Pettigrew being in there would be great. We definitely have more Fargo All-Americans this year than we've ever had. Yeah,
I was thinking that. And like you said, I haven't counted them up or anything like that. It just I had a feeling that it looked like you really that top end talent was trying to get some matches in.
Yeah, we usually have 2 or 3. This year, I'm pretty sure there's 5 or 6. Yeah. So that's we're pretty much doubling it. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. So I think it'll be a good little test for some of those. I know we don't know what's going to happen with Super 32. They made that announcement today. So hopefully that doesn't alter things. That could make more people want to come. Since they know Super 32 is not going to be there. So, but I think that. With Super 32 being up in the air, I think that's going to, would help this increase its numbers, even though it's a week away. And I think it's going to boost up the Grappler Fall Classic too here in about a month. Yeah, I agree. I think those numbers could explode here over the course of the next week and a half. And that's going to be one heck of a tournament to break down and preview. We may have to do that.
Yeah, right. I mean, we can get together again and talk about it. It'd be awesome. All right, man.
And
So I will see you on It's Saturday, right? Is it only
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Only Saturday. Yeah.
And it is an open venue.
Yeah, it's a covered North Ola Park. I think I've never been there. I don't know. So
Okay.
I know that I've seen pictures, and it's got seating and everything's going to be off the floor, which will be a little bit different than what we've had. But yeah, it's a covered venue. I'm a little nervous about the weather right now with that hurricane slated to roll through North Georgia later on in the week. So we may have to stay tuned with that. But yeah, so only 2020, right?
That's right. That's right. Well,
So,
I will see you on Saturday. I hope to see
all right,
everybody
man.
else on Saturday. Gonna be some great wrestling, man.
All right.
All right,
Nice
you take
talking to
care.
you, bud.
See ya.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.